Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking ingredients that changed my skin for the better. Part 2. You all loved part 1 so much a couple of months ago. I finally got around to it, to creating part 2, because the funny thing, if you remember from that video, I was listing off all of those ingredients that transformed my skin, and at the very end I was like, oh, and I forgot ceramides. So it definitely needed a part 2. It's here. I'm really excited to share with you 4 more ingredients that have really done my skin wonders, transformed it, or transformed my skincare journey. If you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's jump right in. So let's kick it off with ceramides, the key to healthy skin. If you don't know, ceramides are a lipid. They do make up 50% of your skin barrier, and your skin barrier is what helps to keep your skin hydrated, healthy, strong, and protected. It helps to hold all that good stuff deep within your skin, but it does work as a barrier to outside aggressors like pollution, UV, as well as bad bacteria like what causes acne. So obviously, it's a really important natural part of your skin barrier, but it can be very beneficial to add them into your skin through skincare. So let me tell you about my journey with ceramides, because I think it really started once I really identified my skin as being dehydrated. Now this was a long time ago, and we got to kind of travel back because the internet has changed so much over just a few short years, but back when I was trying to figure out what the heck was wrong with my skin, why did it feel so dry, so tight, deep within my skin, nothing was replenishing it. It felt like my skincare didn't last. I could feel this inflammation and dryness on my skin, but I also had this thick layer of oil on top of my skin as well. It's like very confusing. So this was about 10 years ago. Finding information about skincare was a little bit harder. You had to be a little bit more of a Google investigator or scholar, if you will. And I finally landed on this idea of dehydrated skin. And at the time I thought it was a skin type. And it's just, semantics. It doesn't really matter. But it is a skin condition that can affect any skin type, which explains why my skin, the only word I could think of was dry, right? Deep within my skin, dry, but it explained why I had all that oil on top of my skin too, because it's a skin condition. But anyways, one of the kind of treatments, right, for dehydrated skin, lots of hydrating skincare, but also ceramides, because those help your skin barrier. And so I would look for a moisturizer with ceramide NP in it, and it actually did help a lot. Fast forward a few years later, and I damaged my moisture barrier. I was really aggressive and very excited about all the things: retinol, vitamin C, AHA, BHA, azelaic acid, all the things that burned my skin and damaged my moisture barrier because I just went for it full force. And so my barrier was so damaged, it was so deficient, just a moisturizer with ceramide NP was not gonna be enough, right? And luckily I had that information in my back pocket. I did kind of have to go exploring a little bit more and learn even more about the function of the moisture barrier, because I thought ceramides were just like the ingredient that sealed in the hydration. And yes, but no at the same time, right? It's such a much more complex thing with the moisture barrier and all the different lipids and all the different things that can affect the health of your moisture barrier. And ceramides are definitely just one piece of that puzzle. And that's where my mind really started to open up. And I think that's what really got me interested in deep diving into skincare and ingredients and why things work the way they do and why my skin feels the way that it does, and how can I put all this information together and smartly put together a skincare routine that's going to solve these issues. That's where it really started for me, and really certainly using ceramides to help my skin, but expanding my knowledge beyond ceramides as well. That's where the whole ceramides, cholesterol, fatty acid era started to come into play too. And that's actually what really helped to heal my skin barrier. I did a lot of other things as well, but that was really the key, was getting that down, was the ceramides, the cholesterol, the fatty acids, to really replenish that skin barrier, to help fortify it, to strengthen it, to make it strong, to help it work the way it was supposed to work. And then as I journeyed beyond that era where my skin was feeling healthier, I did actually just start to realize that my skin just feels better on the whole with daily ceramides. So ceramide products, I have a lot to recommend. I've obviously made lots of videos over the years, really sharing my love for ceramides and the products that contain them. And so for this video, really focusing in on the ingredients, but also the products that changed my skin for the better, I really felt strongly that I was only going to mention the one product today, and that is Stratia Lipid Gold, formerly known as Stratia Liquid Gold. And this is the product that really helped me to heal my moisture barrier. This is the product that really helped me to understand the ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids, and how those three lipids together really work in tandem to really strengthen the moisture barrier. And so this product really opened up my mind in my education, right, and that skincare journey for me. And I mean, it's really significant, the fact that the very first time I tried this product was in 2018. I have never not used it since then. There's been a few times where I've switched in similar products to see if they're just as good, but I'm constantly repurchasing Lipid Gold. It has been a staple in my routines since 2018. Sunscreen filters. Prevention, prevention, prevention. My 35-year-old self thanks my early 20s self for starting that habit when I did. Not only do I feel that sunscreen has prevented a lot on my skin and protected me throughout the years, but once I really got that habit down, and I will be completely honest with you, it took me a hot second to really get it down. But once I did, I actually did see a transformation, a visible transformation, an improvement in my skin once I started protecting it from the sun on a daily basis. I think it's important to understand that I did not grow up with the idea of sunscreen as a skincare product. Many of us actually did not. As I mentioned, the internet has changed quite a bit in our access to skincare content and education over the last few years, and it's evolved very quickly. I think it's also important to remember part of that is the sophistication in our skincare knowledge, right? We are so much more knowledgeable about skincare and how to prevent some of that premature aging and things like that, and to protect our skin. That knowledge has definitely evolved in a very short time span. Once I hit my early 20s, I was a senior in college. I really wanted to go beyond just washing and moisturizing and really start to build a routine beyond that. And so that's when I first started double cleansing and things like that too. And my gateway into more skincare, really, right, was Asian beauty. And that's, like I said, that's where the double cleansing came into play, but also where I started to realize that sunscreen was not a sunburn prevention product only, that it was actually a skincare product and should be used on a daily basis to protect your skin, to prevent premature aging, to protect from sun damage. But also if you had brightening goals, which at the time I did because I really identified with my skin as being very dull and uneven, it was actually a product that would brighten your skin over time as well. And so that's when I first started getting into it. My first sunscreens were Japanese sunscreen products. Once I feel like I finally got it down to consistent application, right, I really did start to see my skin change. As I mentioned, it was very uneven, very dull. I would always say that if I'm not wearing makeup, people are going to think that I look sick because my skin was very uneven and things like that. And obviously a lot plays into how healthy your skin looks, right? But sunscreen was definitely something that made me stop saying things like that, and actually really helped me to progress with my goals with brightening my skin and helping to even out my complexion. And I think a lot of that actually was some uneven patches of melanin from unprotected sun exposure, right? So it really did transform my skin. And as I mentioned as well, I feel like now that I'm in my mid-30s, I feel good about my skin. I really don't have too much to complain about, quite honestly. Obviously, I work very hard at it. I do a lot to take care of it. But on the whole, I'm very happy with what I see in the mirror. And I think a lot of that comes down to the way that sunscreen has protected me. So products, again, so many, too many that will make the video way too long, right? I do have a whole dedicated playlist for sunscreens here on my channel that collects all the reviews that I've done throughout the years. But I guess I'll just mention the ones that I've been going back to a lot recently. A Skin 1004 Hyalu-Cica Water Fit Sun Serum. I love this stuff. This is my daily driver. It is just so comfortable. I mean, talk about like if you struggle to put sunscreen on because it's not comfortable, right? This is just so darn comfortable. I forget that I'm wearing it, which is a plus for me. I can struggle with the texture of sunscreen. I do not struggle ever with this one. It always feels comfortable. It's never irritating, and it just suits my skin so well. It works really beautifully under makeup. So I've been going back to this one so much. Now, when I need a little bit more, when I need some water resistance, something that's going to hold up to sweat, something that's going to hold up to high UV days and like high summer, right? I'm spending lots of time outside, maybe being active. I really do like the Avene very high protection, fragrance-free fluid. I actually started using this when I was traveling through Greece a couple of years ago. In summertime. I mean, talk about a high UV situation, right? Outside all day long, and the sun is intense in the Mediterranean. And this actually really held up to some pretty harsh, I think, environment and circumstances. And so this is something that I do still bring out, especially for high UV days. A little pricey to bring it into the United States, but for me personally, it's so worth it. Facial oils. Surprise, they didn't clog my skin. Now, speaking about growing up in the late 90s and the early 2000s as a kid and a teen, right? I think I was really scarred by this time because as much as that fashion is coming back, one of the things that was in fashion for like skin was definitely not dewy skin, glass skin, donut skin, jelly skin, honey skin, whatever you want to call it, right? That kind of a look, wet skin, was not it, right? It was matte. And if you did have a dewiness to your skin, a wetness or an oiliness to your skin, it was like, ew, you're so oily, you're dripping in grease, that's nasty, right? It was not the look, if you know what I mean. So there were a lot of myths that circulated at this time, and one of them was like the demonization of oil. Oil was so bad for your skin. Like oil is definitely something that causes acne. If it's in your skincare products, it's going to clog your pores, it's going to make your skin look awful. Like so much oil-free products at the time, right? A lot of demonization around oil and skincare and how it causes acne. And so that is just something that stuck with me for a super long time. As a teenager, I did suffer with acne. I did suffer with oily skin. As an adult, I definitely still had a lot of congestion, clogged pores. My skin was oily, but in my mid-20s, it actually kind of turned a lot more combination. And so as somebody who identified with oily skin, right, I was like, facial oils, right, they're just not for me. I feel like they started to become more popular in the late 2010s, or I was more exposed to them through social media. But there was a lot more people that were like, I love this facial oil. It makes my skin feel so smooth and blah, blah. I was like, it's still not for me. And then I damaged my moisture barrier. So much comes back to this time for me. Like I said, this was like really an awakening in my skincare journey and really starting to get passionate about learning about this whole world, right? And so I had read that oil might help when your barrier is really messed up. Like it's just going to help as your skin is healing. It might help hold hydration and just kind of fight that really dry, itchy, irritated feeling deep in your skin. It's like, you know what? I'm going to try it. If I break out, whatever, my skin already looks terrible as it is, so it's fine. And I can actually put myself back in my shoes and like flash back to exactly where I was, what apartment I was living in, exactly what room I was in when I put it on my face, and I instantly went, it made my skin feel so good. Really understanding that my skin was very inflamed, very irritated, very dry and dehydrated. This feels amazing. It actually instantly on contact soothed my skin, and it helped so much. And I was like, sweet, I'm going to use this until my skin is healed. And then it never fell out of my routine since then. My skin healed, you know, the weather got warmer, I got oilier, and I kind of still stuck with facial oil. I changed products and played around with lots of different things, of course. but it just never went out of my routine because it just made my skin feel so darn good. And it actually did the opposite of what I had been told the majority of my life. It didn't clog my pores. In fact, it might have unclogged my pores. So it never fell out of my routine. It improves my skin, makes it feel amazing, gives it a beautiful, dewy, glowy finish. And you know what? I don't really care what's in style now, what's to come in style. I love dewy, glowy skin. I don't think I'm ever going to give it up. So let's talk products. If you watch my videos, you can probably name the 3 that I'm about to. Name them with me. Stratia Fortify. Absolutely love this one. It's actually an oil blend, and it's actually blended specifically for the fatty acid profiles of the oils that they're using for strengthening your skin barrier. Number 2, the Ordinary Chia Seed Oil. You know, I love this one too. It's a 100% oil. It's very, very affordable, under $10. And chia seed actually has a really nice fatty acid profile too, especially for barrier deficient folks or those who are suffering with dehydration. What I particularly like about this one and why I reach for it, it's a little bit of a lighter oil expression than the blends can be. It's not super duper thin, but it's a little bit lighter. And so this is something that I reach for a lot in warmer weather when I'm producing more oil. And I don't want a really thick kind of oil feel on my skin, but I want all of the benefits of oil. I'm going for chia seed. And number 3, the Ordinary Bee Oil. Oh yeah, this is another oil blend that I like. And especially when I'm on a tight budget, I will reach for this blend over Stratia. Not because it's better necessarily, but just the price point, right? You save a couple of bucks. And when you're on a tight budget, a couple of bucks really matters, right? So I really like this affordable blend. It does lean a little bit more for dryness, I will say, with the oils that they're using. There's a little bit more omega-9, which is very helpful for dryness in the skin. It's not quite as fatty acid balanced as Stratia, but I still find a lot of benefit from using it, especially in colder weather. It really has like a soothing effect for my skin. Antioxidants, the well-aging sidekick. If you haven't noticed in my content over the last year or so, I have an increasing love and fascination for antioxidants. And it really is because, as I mentioned, they are truly a very supportive player, a very good sidekick to more of your traditional well-aging types of products like the retinols and the vitamin C and the niacinamide and all that. Those are all great. I'm not saying don't use those, but I'm saying antioxidants actually complement those ingredients so much. Antioxidants, especially the very potent ones, are a great pair with your sunscreen in the morning. While they don't have sun protection inherently, so you do still need to use those UV filters, right? Antioxidants in combination with UV filters provide an additional layer of protection from the damage that UV can do to the skin, especially because UV can induce so much damage to the collagen structure. It can really help like free radicals to run wild, free and radical in your skin, right? That can release damaging enzymes within the skin. It can actually really break down that protein structure over time, and that's what causes the fine lines and wrinkles, the loss of elasticity, the loss of firmness within the skin. And then of course we know that the sun also can cause the age spots or sunspots, sun damage, unevenness in the complexion. It actually can also harm your skin barrier when you're not protecting yourself from the sun, and that's going to lead to dehydration, which is going to make the fine lines and wrinkles look worse. But it also can lead to a very dull, uneven, unhealthy looking skin because your skin is not healthy if your moisture barrier isn't strong. So antioxidants protect from all of that. So yeah, they're not like the collagen stimulators, but they can be the collagen protectors. And I think what cemented my fascination with antioxidants was how they protect the skin from environmental aggressors. Because, you know, I have to say, antioxidants are fascinating on paper, right? But when you're building them into your routine, and especially using them in combination with your sunscreen, you may feel a little underwhelmed because it's not really an ingredient that shows you visible benefits quickly, you know, on your skin. This is something that you want to invest in long term to see results in 10 years down the road when your skin is aging really well, right? And not prematurely or rapidly, right? That's where antioxidants and sun protection and all of that pay you off is 10 years from now. But you may be looking in the mirror, you know, 3 weeks starting your antioxidant products and be like, I don't really know if it's doing anything for me. It's just like there's not a payoff, an immediate payoff. And so I think sometimes our interest and our excitement can can kind of die down around antioxidants. But I think for me, where my fascination really grew was really understanding how antioxidants protected my skin from environmental aggressors. This is a very vague word, and it's kind of like, we're like, yeah, we know what that means. I'm like, I don't really know what that means. What's an environmental aggressor? It can mean a lot of things, but I think from my personal experience, for me, aggressors from the environment that have negatively impacted my skin have been pollution, smoke and wildfires, and I think especially allergies in the air as well. Let me quickly tell you though, talking about reducing inflammation from these environmental aggressors. Inflammation, whatever the source of it may be, inflammation is actually something that does damage your collagen structure. Yeah. You can get inflamed from the sun, you can get inflamed from acne, you can get inflamed from irritation, sensitivities, illnesses, autoimmune diseases, right? Inflammation is causing damage in your body, and it does show up on your skin. So if you are constantly going through cycles of inflammation, whatever the cause may be, and whatever the solution may be, it's really actually important for you to understand that and get that under control as much as you possibly can for the well-aging journey. If that's important to you, I'm not here to tell you what to do. If it's an important value to you, know that inflammation is really a silent collagen killer, damager, right? And we don't really ever acknowledge that a lot. We will probably, as our knowledge expands and becomes more sophisticated, but inflammation is damaging to your collagen structure, to the proteins in your skin, and can, when it goes unchecked over a long period of time, is going to speed up the aging process. So it's also important for me to get that, right? To understand that and to understand how I can control that. So empowering all around, and an ingredient that if I make this video in 10 years, right, I might be saying thank you to my younger self for adding in antioxidants and using them in a smart way, because it's done a lot for my skin 10 years from now. Products. I actually just did a dedicated video to 5 of my favorite antioxidant based serums that I personally find to be high percentage and very potent. So do check that out if you want to learn a lot more, if I just piqued your interest a little bit. But I think 2 that I've gone back to the longest, that I've purchased the most and used the longest, are the Ordinary Pycnogenol 5%. This is a really good soothing antioxidant. It's great for reducing inflammation. If that really resonated with you about inflammation, this really does soothe the skin. It actually can protect the collagen. It can help the processes that stimulate collagen in the skin. It can also help with skin hydration. So it's definitely one that I absolutely recommend at a very affordable price point. And then I also like NIOD Survival Zero. This is still, I would say, a fairly affordable antioxidant. It's more than the Ordinary, but it's affordable for NIOD, right? And it's actually a combination of lots of potent antioxidants. You're getting a lot of multiple benefits by using this really nice complex of different potent antioxidants. Some of them are extremely proven. Some of them are a little bit new, cutting edge, and novel. But I have found this serum to be particularly helpful for really high UV days. It really makes my skin feel very, very protected. But it's also a very restorative antioxidant blend too. So it can be very beneficial to use at nighttime, morning time, all the time. It just makes your skin feel really strong, very protected. And over time, I think it also makes your skin look really healthy too. It's actually really beneficial to look back on your skincare journey and really pinpoint those moments in time, those ingredients, those products, those knowledge points, really, right? Where your skincare journey changed for the better. And I've been really lucky to be able to look back and make some realizations. Putting this video together, I was like, hey, I didn't even consider this, but like this actually changed my skin so much. I'm curious if you've had moments like that for yourself with your skincare journey, ingredients or products, or just like knowledge that you've gained. Let us all know in the comments below. If you like this video and you made it to the end, but you're not subscribed, hey, I would be so honored if you come join our community, especially if you love deep diving into ingredients, skincare products, gentle products, K-beauty products. That's what my channel is all about. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you're never out of the loop. Thanks for being here with me today. Thanks for sharing in my skincare journey. I love you so much, and I hope you are healthy, happy, and safe wherever you are in the world. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.